Hey everybody, it's Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat. I'm here with Pete Cummin, who, as you see, is having a beer. I am actually enjoying a little glass of Prosecco. And folks, it's the podcast. It's a little bit unusual. We appreciate that you've been hanging with us. We're going through some transitions, but we wanted to talk to you guys about UFC Sydney and UFC Uberlândia. MMA Heat Wade is out of town with 5 grappling, so we can't really shoot in our regular spot. So Pete and I just thought that because we know you'd miss us, right, Pete? So that we would talk to you guys on this platform for now, and then we'll be back with the usual setup on Monday, which is then going to evolve into a whole new thing.
I feel like the UFC community would be very upset to miss me for a week.
I think so. They're like, "Where's High Old Guy?"
They're like, "What? How am I going to form an opinion on the world and mixed martial arts without High Old Guy?"
That's right. Well, High Old Guy, what kind of beer are you drinking? Is it a seasonal brew right now?
Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada. Okay, because listen, you and I are both from outside of Boston, and I am a fan of the Sam Adams winter ales and the sort of I think they do an October one or whatever, but every year they come out with that kind of seasonal case, which I enjoy.
I'm a huge Sam Adams fan.
Yeah.
But Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, Anchor Steam, they're all good.
Yeah.
Bass Ale.
Bass Ale, whatever. Really, basically, it really doesn't matter.
Heroin.
A little smack. Yeah.
Am I allowed to be drinking on the internet? Because I guess if this was TV, I couldn't drink, right?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because when I first started out in television, it was in black and white. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that old. God, I can't believe I'm giving myself a busting on myself. But when I first started out, you couldn't, you weren't supposed to drink on the air. And then nowadays, I know that a lot of people do. You look at some of these morning shows. I'm like channel surfing by, and there's Kathy Lee and they're like chugging wine,
like sloshing it.
Well, which is weird to me that they're drinking wine, but also that it's only like 10 a.m. I mean, even I don't start that early.
But seriously, if that's your job and you're not a lush, you're playing it wrong. Like, if your job's just to kind of show up and sit around the couch,
right?
Chat with people, and you actually run every day and take life seriously, you played it wrong, and you needed to give that job to somebody else.
I think so. You're right. Because actually, I think on the Today Show, the Natalie chick, Morale, I think she actually runs marathons. She's taken that approach.
Yes. Look, listen, if you're gonna be a marathon runner, then go try to cure cancer too. But give the lush,
right.
Give the lush morning show job to us lazier.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I joke that I've been doing this for a long time in TV, and I actually have, I started out on MTV, and some people don't know that. And, I started out at MTV, and I started out doing a lot of entertainment reporting, and people definitely ask me now, switching to sports, like, wow, how do you feel about it? But it's great. I love it. That there was a thing. I think part of the reason, Pete, that they drink on those shows is because it actually gets kind of boring. The idea of entertainment reporting and stuff like that can be kind of fun. I mean, MTV's separate because I love music, and that was great. But just the sort of general entertainment reporting, I did a lot of that at CNN and other places. It gets a little tired because you kind of know what everybody's going to say when they come in there. The actors have their prepackaged, phrases about selling the movie, and it gets a little boring. And when I switched to sports, though, it was so refreshing because every day I knew I went to work that I really didn't know what was going to happen, and I still don't. And last Saturday
night... So you're saying that the only thing that's why you're not a raving alcoholic is because of sports? Is what
yes, sports.
Well, because that's why I drink, because I find life kind of boring, and then I drink, and I...
Seriously, the sports has ensured my sobriety because I literally, I go to work, I can't phone it in. Because literally the other night we're going to talk about...
Okay.
What? You think I'm phoning it in?
Sobriety. I believe there's a little happy medium in there for you somewhere. I don't
listen. Truth be told,
trumpeting your sobriety right now.
Okay. Truth be told, when we were sitting there, because the other day at Saturday for Fox at Fox Sports 1, I have a 11-hour day. I get there at 12:30, 12:45. for my call time, makeup, meetings, pre-fight show, da-da-da. We're watching fights, we're watching prelims, we're watching main card. Then we go on the air for Fox Sports Live after. So I don't leave there. I don't get off the air till, nearly 11 o'clock at night. It would be great if I could sit there and watch the fights with a couple of beers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that wouldn't be great, because it would. But I need to have my wits about me going on the air. And the other day was so shocking. And I need to remain impartial when I'm doing those shows and be professional, because I have a feeling if I had a couple of cocktails, I'd be like, holy,
right.
I can't believe that just won the fight. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be professional. It wouldn't be good, Pete. It wouldn't be good. I saved that for us, for the web. So listen, folks, as we know, it was a doubleheader weekend. We had UFC Sydney. We had UFC Uberlândia. And we kind of just wanted to do a little bit of a talk. I mean, I don't know if we'd call this a full podcast, I suppose it is, but it's really kind of a wrap up and just kind of a get your thoughts. And again, as always, we love to hear your comments. So please type away. And we've been I was going to say we've been active in the comment section. I know I have. Pete has maybe not responded to as many of you.
Listen, I put out there that I just need one female fan to restore my faith in humanity.
So I need to, clearly I need to come up with a...
Just like make up an account.
That's what I was just going to say. I need to make up an account.
Who was that football player for Notre Dame who had like the online girlfriend?
Oh, yeah. Now he plays for San Diego. Yeah. I'll think of it in a second. His name, I'm blanking on his name right now. But yes, who had the online.
Just do that. Like, make somebody up for me. I'll fall in love. Then you can break my heart on air. And,
God, why am I blanking on his name now? I'll think of it. And a million people will type in.
Manitutu?
Yeah. It was.
It was something like that.
Yeah. At any rate, Pete, I'm your fan.
Thank you.
So listen, UFC Sydney. Wait, what?
No, I appreciate you being my fan, but I want one more.
Thank you. So UFC Sydney went down. Was record-setting, 11 fights, 11 finishes, which is really unprecedented and so great. The funny thing is as you're going along, you're watching this and you're just there's kind of a curse that people know that sometimes on the prelims, if you get all finishes, that the main card is just going to suck and it's just going to be all decisions and slow and everything like that. So some of us were kind of joking online like don't jinx it and this and that, but the hits just kept on coming, which was fantastic. But I do kind of want to talk about the main event and the co-main event. Luke Rockhold dispatched Michael Bisping in the second round. Luke had said he was going to do it in the first round. But basically took his time and set it up in the second. It didn't take him too long. I have to say, I thought Luke looked great. He was so relaxed in that fight. Sometimes Luke looks a little, I don't want to say he looks antsy or whatever, but, he had his hands low in this. He just looked very comfortable and very confident and just landed so many kicks. And earlier in the game, Michael was checking the kicks. But as I watched, I thought, okay, it's just a matter of time before he's going to work these kicks so much and one of them's going to land and something's going to knock Michael off. And of course we know that did and set it up and ended up getting the one-hand guillotine. And, I worked with Daniel Cormier on Saturday and he's Luke's teammate. And he was kind of joking and we all feel like it was, Luke was a good sport about it, but he choked him out with one hand. Like, we literally were joking. Like, if he could have had a camera to take a selfie at the same time, Luke would have been all over that. Because he kind of, with the other hand, was just sort of, posting up and nonchalant. I think he was probably getting a couple girls' numbers at the time. He looked awesome. Michael is always a tough opponent for anybody, a very high-volume fighter, a very tenacious guy. But Luke looked awesome.
No, he was... I was so impressed with the kicks, the striking, and then the guillotine hold at the end. He knocks him down and he's grounding and pounding. He probably didn't even need to stick him in the hole. He would have probably had him anyway. And he out of all the fights this weekend, He blew me away. He's the complete package. I
Yeah.
mean, he's going to be really tough.
Well, that's the thing, and he certainly has, as a former Strikeforce champion, is trying to make his claim for a UFC title shot. And after the fight, he said, no disrespect to Jacare, but I've already beaten you. Jacare, everybody knows, he just took out Gegard Mousasi not too long ago, and Jacare is on his way up, and he's so dangerous, and so many people are afraid of him. But Luke says, listen, I believe I'm the number one contender. Jacare feels like he's claimed the spot, and I have to say, Luke's making a pretty good argument for himself.
That was a complete fight.
He looked great. Here's the thing. Chris Weidman is awesome. And so, as good as Luke looks, you always have to think about, okay, but he's going to be in there with a guy who has amazing takedowns. Michael is certainly not known for his takedowns. Michael's a great boxer and a great counterpuncher, and Michael has great well, he has a lot of heart, but what I'm saying, endurance-wise, Michael never gets tired. But when you add those elements to somebody like Chris Weidman, who also has incredible wrestling, and after you saw what Chris did to Lyoto Machida, is able to punch and strike, and most people don't land that much stuff on Lyoto Machida, and Chris was able to. I still think that Chris Weidman gives Luke Rockhold a hard time.
Right. No, but yeah. I want to see it, though.
I want to see it, too. I mean, and the thing is, and we know the kicks. We know what Chris can do when he checks a kick, because we saw what happened with Anderson Silva. We know that Chris has more power in his hands. Like I always say, I've not been hit by any of these pro fighters. So Michael Bisping has never, punched me in the face. But
nice.
But the story is, people like to say that Michael doesn't punch that hard. I don't know if it's true, but Chris Weidman clearly does punch very hard, and I think he will be tougher for Luke Rockhold. So I'm curious, again, if you guys want to give us your thoughts in the comments here, how you think that matchup will go. Of course, assuming that Chris Weidman gets past Vitor Belfort. They're going to be fighting in the first quarter of next year. But I think most people assume they would see a matchup between either Chris and Jacare or Chris and Luke. And I like both those fights. I like all those fights. I like the middleweight division right now. It's hot.
I was just impressed. The hands, the feet, the hold. I mean, it was like a trifecta. You know? I mean, he brought it all. And I'll tell you though, I love the class that both those guys showed afterwards to each other. I mean, that to me is like a real hallmark of the UFC. Like you can you can beat the crap out of someone, and you can be talking shit to them the whole time, but then afterwards, you respect the hell out of them just because they climbed in there with you.
Of course. Well, and that's the thing. I even had tweeted it before the fight that I hate to burst people's bubbles, but Michael is actually a great guy. He's very funny. He's a really good guy. He's a lot of fun to be around. And he did kind of say that, he does a lot of the smack talk to hype himself up. And I can see how that would frustrate some people because they want to know it's genuine. I don't think that meant none of it was genuine. I think that he really disliked Luke. I think that he does the smack talk to build himself up. But I think at the end of the fight, when you've gone in there and manned up and the door's been locked and you guys fought it out, I feel like Michael is a true athlete and a good man who says, okay, fine, you beat me, hats off.
Well, here's the thing too. He's making the fight interesting. Yeah. I mean, I was most interested, as someone who's fairly new to the UFC, I was most interested about that fight because of the bad blood that was between them.
But that's the hang-up, is if people think it's disingenuous. But I believe it, and I know he really doesn't care for Luke.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I still felt, listen, they were all like, yeah, I don't really like him, but I respect him, But
I respect the fact that he got it.
And you're all trying to downplay it. And after you get the shit kicked out of a guy who, after like a guy you've been giving grief to for 2 weeks kicks the shit out of you, of course you're going to go, I was just kidding about that stuff. What are you? I was just selling tickets. I really like him. But, listen, like him and Conor McGregor and stuff, like they know, they make themselves interesting.
Yeah, they really do.
That's, and that helps.
Well, and not for nothing too. You know, a friend of mine.
Did you say not for nothing?
Not for nothing. I love that saying.
Donuts to donuts.
Donuts to donuts. I don't even know not for nothing means, but after you know, a friend had said, "Hey, Luke Rockhold, ladies and gentlemen," had tweeted it, and I put, "Yeah, but mostly ladies." Because the thing about it is too is Luke is not only is he a very entertaining fighter. You know, the guy could definitely be a star. He's a good-looking guy. Has a lot going for him. I think, you know, in terms of marketability, in terms of bringing in casual fans, if we get a matchup between Chris Clark Kent, All-American Weidman, and Luke Rockhold, there's going to be some new fans in the house.
Now that's what I do. I really don't like these guys who are also good looking.
I know that one with Michael and Luke, it was just like, really, dude? Is this a GQ shoot or are you guys fighting?
But it's like, it's like, dude, if you're going to be a fighter, like, I want the cauliflower ears, and I at least want to say, like, well, at least my nose looks better than that.
Right. No.
And not only is he good looking, but then he's got that damn name too.
I know, it really is so.
I mean, you know, and it's like, and you can also kick the shit out of me too. That's great.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, Michael Bisping says in his post-fight quotes afterwards, he said, "I'm not going anywhere." So he plans to, I believe, keep fighting. You know, perhaps the title shot is never going to happen for him. Unfortunately, you know, Michael has put in so many good years, and he's a very good fighter, and I think still beats a lot of people. But you know, I guess he has to probably come to terms with the fact that yes, he's a little bit older now, and these guys are younger and better.
And what is he, 35?
Something like that, I think.
Is he 35?
Yeah, but you know, the good thing about Michael is too is he's got options. You know, he's been doing some acting. He works with us over at Fox sometimes. Entertaining guy. He's got options, so he doesn't have to make his living face punching forever. I think he'll be all right. What do you think of the co-main event? Ross Pearson, who is so good and who is such a difficult fighter for many people. Ross is a guy that just gets in there and doesn't wait for things to happen, and isn't a guy that you know, sits back. He's a very aggressive fighter. Al Iaquinta going into this, you know, I did an interview with Al before the fight, which of course people can find on my YouTube channel. And, you know, Al knows that people kind of underestimate him and they don't really think of him that much. And, you know, he went in there and beat Ross Pearson, who, you know, it's funny because Al Iaquinta is a guy that people, I think of from The Ultimate Fighter. And again, you guys can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I feel like people kind of think of him as an Ultimate Fighter guy. And, you know, he's okay. And some of the names that he's beaten in the UFC, they're like, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. But I feel like people didn't necessarily give him as much respect as he believed he was due. And this win over Ross Pearson certainly earned him a lot of respect. Ross is a tough out for anybody. And afterwards, after the fight, Al said, you know, I'm going to put the lightweight division, I'm going to make him humble, which I loved. And, you know, we talked about this in our pre-fight interview that Al was like, listen, I train with Chris Weidman every day. Come on, people. Like, you think I'm not going to be good? You know, and we talked about this on Fox after, and that's that whole thing of, you know, when you got a champ in the house, you know, may it be at Glendale Fighting Club when you got Ronda Rousey there or something, may it be over with Sarah Longo, with Chris Weidman, all these different places, you know, Onovo Nyao, when you have Jose Aldo, like, training alongside a champ, I believe it makes a difference. And Al Iaquinta is a guy that maybe isn't getting enough respect. And, you know, DC and Phil Davis the other day on the show, they were like, yeah, he does these sneaky things that you don't see coming necessarily, whatever. But I said you can't expect a guy who trains with a champ as good as Chris Weidman to not get great. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, great hands.
Totally.
I mean, it was... What? Did I miss you?
No, you liked it. Great hands, right?
No, yeah. No, his striking was awesome. I mean, he looked like a boxer out there.
Yeah.
That was a
fun fight, and for him, that's a very big, important win.
Yeah.
Ross Pearson is a guy that most people are afraid of, I think.
Well, he looks like a fighter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I liked Ross ever since The Ultimate Fighter when he was a contestant on it, and then he went on and coached on Tough Smashes, and I was able to go down to Australia when he was fighting George Soteropoulos for that finale, and he really did not like George Soteropoulos. And so Ross was really happy to dispatch him. But Ross is one of those guys I have so much respect for. I don't miss any of his fights. He's a guy that is always exciting and is so good that, yeah, for Al, I think that's a real big feather in his cap. So I'm happy for him. It's a great win. I'm not even sure who I would like to see him matched up with next. I need to kind of look. I mean, you guys can give us your comments on who you think he should fight. But props to him for getting a win, going a long way to get it. And if you guys saw the broadcast on Fight Pass, you should go look it up because Chris Weidman is now. I mean, Chuck Liddell is legendary for watching a fight. The way Chuck moves and is so into it. But Chris Weidman, they showed Chris Weidman watching his teammate Al fight, and Chris was pretty spectacular. Did you see that part of it, Pete? It was pretty great watching Chris watch
I saw it at the end when he was on his seat. And he was really,
when he's dancing and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see.
It was great.
It's nice to see these guys support each other. I mean,
for sure.
It's a solo sport that it's
right, but the team element is very important. Now, obviously, that was Friday night here in the States, Saturday night in Australia, and then Saturday here in the States we had UFC Uberlândia, and we saw OSP. What?
Yeah. By the way, hold on. Didn't Australia have to watch it at like 3 in the morning or something?
No. Brazil was 3 in the morning. UFC Sydney, excuse me, was like midday. When I went there before for the Tough Smashes, the fight started at like 9 or 10 in the morning.
So that crowd in Brazil was there at 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
They must hate America. I mean, imagine if our game started at 3 in the morning.
No, but listen. Well, yes and no.
Schmuck halfway across
Brazilians are notorious for being late night people. Okay, if you ever go there, which I have done, literally, I've had friends. Eric Albarracin, who is the wrestling coach there with the Nogueira team and stuff. Like we're at the hotel and I'm coming in from dinner or something like that. He's like, "No, I'm taking a nap because I'm going out at 2:30." Like. They go out really, really late. And I've been out in Brazil late. And I've got Wade, here at home panicking. WhatsApping me. Where are you? You know what I mean?
I was at a strip bar in Brazil.
Oh, did you? Well, yeah, it's really late. But they are late night people. So to me, I don't think it was unusual for those guys to be up really late. That being said, to be fighting that late is something else. And I was texting back and forth with my friend Eduardo, who is Shogun's manager, and we were texting back and forth on Saturday, and he was even saying, it's a little different. I mean, they weren't scheduled to fight until 3:30 in the morning.
That's insane.
And so Shogun was taking a nap earlier, and, it's hard on the team because you don't want to be tired, you want to be fired up, and it was difficult. I do think it was difficult for all the fighters to fight that late. But that was, obviously for OSP, a huge deal to beat Shogun, who is a legend. It's interesting today. Shogun had put out a statement on his webpage saying how, obviously, a fighter has ups and downs in their career, but this one particularly was very frustrating because it ended so fast and he didn't get to show everything that he had done. And he said, "Listen, I was so well prepared for this. I had a fantastic training camp," which also Eduardo had told me. And he said, really the frustrating part is not being able to show that. It's okay to lose. People lose, you know what I mean? But to lose in a way when you never even got a chance to show what you trained is even more frustrating. And, he was also saying like his headspace was he wanted so desperately to win this for Brazil and to be in the main event. It was so important to him that, he admits that maybe he made some judgment errors, in the fight, so quickly, but
it was 34 seconds long.
I know, but don't,
there was only one judgment error you could make in 34 seconds.
Pete, he's one of my all-time favorite fighters.
I know, but I don't think it was a series of judgment errors. I think it was he got caught.
He got caught, and OSP is obviously a very athletic, very strong guy. You and I would be asleep still if he punched us in the chin. He got caught. Like I said, that fight just drives me nuts too because taking nothing away from OSP, who I really have faith in as a future, contender. I honestly believe, that this guy really has so much going for him, and We talked about this on Fox, that like the fact that he was formerly a football player with the Tennessee Volunteers, like this guy is a ridiculous athlete, and so it's exciting to see and to imagine the potential that he has for somebody who's such a pure, just awesome athlete. To all of us, to embrace the sport of MMA and to get so good at these things is really exciting. It just hurts me. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. It hurts me to watch Shogun lose. It hurts me.
It was quick. It was like a shot. It was.
But
over.
That's what sucks even more.
It was done. No, you got to feel bad for the guy.
It sucked to watch him lose that fast. It sucked.
Especially since he trained like 2 months. Like,
he looked better than ever. He's in great shape, and so it's like, god damn it! Like I mean, it's.
You really taking this hard?
I'm taking it hard, as I know a lot of people are, because the thing about it is I don't even, with somebody like Shogun who is so legendary, and if you go back and you look at his fights in his prime, the reason I love Shogun fights is because there's such a possibility for just violence, like in the best way. Like they're so explosive and exciting. So when something like that happens, I feel ripped off. Really, like I said, I'm cool with him losing. He's lost before it happens. It's that feeling of like, God damn it, I got ripped off. I wanted to see Shogun just throw down, win or lose. You know what I mean? That like and I feel like that's what he was saying about his frustration. It's not about the losing. It's about the I didn't even get to do anything.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. That's really what it is. And that's the same reason I like, if Robbie Lawler ever got knocked out super fast, he'd be like, mother crapper. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, because it's that expectation and that excitement of something really awesome going to happen, And,
now, where does mother crapper fit in along these swear?
Pete, I'm trying to be like relatively ladylike.
Is there like, you stub your toe? Is that just a mother and then crapper somewhere here? And then do we get to the mother effer somewhere up there?
I rarely do the mother effer because it's, I try, when you have a small fry. My daughter actually busted me the other day because she said that a little friend of hers had dropped the F-bomb. And I said, she did? And she said, yeah, Mommy, just like you did that day in traffic. Well, so I try not to. So mother crapper, what the fudge. I don't even say what the fudge. I just say, I don't know, Pete. I'm trying to be a lady. But when I watch fights,
you might not want to use mother crapper. Trying to be a lady.
It's really not that much of a better image.
I've never heard the Queen of England go.
Yeah, if mother
the Nazis are coming at us. It's quite a mother crapper.
It's not really that much better of an image. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the main event, and I had to go on TV right after it and act, like all was good. And I really, like I said, my distress at watching Shogun lose, really, I swear to God, I take nothing away from OSP's winning. I genuinely like the guy. He seems like a good guy. And I like his prospects for the future. I just don't like when Shogun loses. I just don't. But
that's the fight game.
I know, and you'd think I'd be used to it after all these years.
That's your retirement party. Not saying that Shogun's going to retire, but that's
no. Well, he said on his page that he was considering. He actually has a, I believe, a 30-day or a 60-day. After the fights, they suspend guidance and say no contact and this and that. So he's going to be off for a couple months. Says he's going to, chill with his family. Like I said, I talked to Eduardo today, and we were. I said, "How's his nose?" Because the story was maybe that his nose was broken. He says, "His nose not that bad," and he's still going to be coaching the Ultimate Fighter opposite Anderson Silva. And I said, "Well, hey, could you maybe just take a fight sooner than later because he is in great shape, and if the nose isn't that bad." So he said, "I don't know, maybe. We'll just see how it goes because they have to do the Ultimate Fighter." But
I love how it's easy it is for you and I to go like, yeah, can you just
grab another fight real fast?
It doesn't seem like your nose is that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, you just got. It was only 34 seconds, right? I mean, granted, you were getting grounded and pounded for 32 of those 34 seconds.
It's not that bad. I was just, never mind. I was just about to make a really bad joke about being pounded for 32 seconds, and then I totally.
Hey, wait, all right. Up from last year's 29. He's getting better.
Anyway, how about that co-main event, though? Alan Jouban and Warlley Alves.
Robbed.
Did you like it?
Yeah, but I agree with probably most everyone that it should have been it was the right score, wrong fighter.
Jouban, yeah. Well, listen, Warlley Alves came out blitzing, I mean, and that guy's a beast. So, but that's the thing is, he had that fast blitz, and then really only like halfway through the first round, this is him looking at the clock the whole time. Taking every excuse to sit down, stop the fight. Oh, I got hit here. Oh, my eye. Ooh.
He got a heck of a kick.
Totally. Listen, Alan Jouban, in his fight with Seth Baczynski, same thing. Got dropped, hurt, comes back, wins the fight. So the fact that Alan survived that first blitz is amazing, right? So the guy is so tough, obviously, and goes along. It's weird because as the fight went along, and really honestly, when we're at the watching the shows in the studio at Fox, a lot of time, unless it's somebody like a Luke Rockhold where DC is training partners with him or whatever, or let's say somebody's a teammate, a lot of time we really truly don't have a dog in the fight. We're just kind of yelling and cheering for people to just be good, you know what I mean, and be awesome and do something. And the fact that Alan went through such hard times and really was coming back. So we're all like cheering for Alan because we're just like, we just want to see him pull it off, you know what I mean? And come back from that. And he showed so much, what's the word? Composure. And the fact that he was able to really start to come back and this and that. So I was texting with Alan today because I said, listen, congratulations. That was an amazing fight. And, I know it didn't go your way, but I really believe that you got a lot more new fans. It's only his second fight in the UFC, Pete. His second fight. And he's like killing it like that. Like people wish they came out.
And he's a male model.
So, with him and Luke Rockhold, I'll make you a list. One of these days off camera, I'll make you a list of Team Handsome in the UFC. Those two guys are on it, though. Patrick Cote is on it. Anyway, I digress. But there's some, yeah. So anyway, so I was texting with Alan, and I said, yeah, congrats, great job. But I'm really, I said, I wish you had 2 more rounds. And again, this is not taken away from Warlley, because he did okay, but I don't know. Alan's like, no kidding. Like, I wish I had 2 more rounds too, because if that was a 5-round fight, Alan, no question. Because Warlley was dead tired. And the thing about it is, Warlley comes from X-Gym. You saw Rogerio Camoes. You saw Joshua Distak, his trainers there. Those guys are bad asses. Like, you don't usually see, you don't see Jacare getting tired. Like, that's, who does strength and conditioning is Rogerio and stuff. And I've seen this man in action. He's an incredible strength and conditioning coach. And Warlley, going down, he dropped to 170. He should have been great at that, unless it was that the drop to 170 was too difficult for him. He was formerly a 185. Maybe that took too much out of him, and it reflected in his ability to fight with a lot of endurance. But I expected kind of more from him on that front, knowing that he was training with those guys.
So does a loss like that hurt Jouban or not? Because
yes and no. Listen, he's so new to the UFC. He's got a 1-1 record in the UFC. But like I was saying to him today, I'm like, dude, you pretty much cemented your spot in the main card. It's like the guy's a fight of the night machine. You know what I mean? And so I feel like with him being that exciting to watch and got the marquee face, this is a guy that the UFC, I believe, will invest a lot in. He comes from a great camp over at Black House and training with Eddie Bravo. He has a good pedigree for this. I feel like Alan's a guy that we're going to be seeing a whole lot more from. And he's a likable guy, it hurts him in the same way that Ross Pearson's loss to Diego Sanchez hurts him. It's an L on your record. But we all know, you know what I mean? Ross Pearson got a bonuses and got a good fight right after, beat Gray Maynard. You know, Alan Jouban, I don't think that's going to hurt him in the eyes of, you know, the matchmakers and the UFC, because I think this guy has proven he's somebody that people will put money down and watch because he's exciting.
Right.
You know. And he's married, though, for the ladies watching. Sorry. Hate to tell you.
I'm married, too. Sorry.
Thanks for that, Pete.
I'm
Thanks for that.
I think everyone just went, "Oh my God, that poor woman."
I know. No, but so Joe is sick. You've been nursing her back to health, yeah?
Nursing would be. We'd have to go pretty far down the list of thesaurus words before we hit nursing. Maybe staying out of her way.
Did you at least nuke some chicken soup for her?
No, I was on the phone with insurance companies all day.
Well,
yeah, you want to get your wife really bummed out, have her get sick, and then tell her when she says I have to call my doctor. Go, well, I'm in between insurance companies. I don't know who your doctor is. And she just gives you a look like you really. You really suck. You really suck. I was on the phone with a lot of insurance companies too.
Well, I hope that she feels better soon, because next Saturday night we have UFC 180 in Mexico City. This is a big deal fight. I don't know if you're going to come out and watch the fights with me. I'm working the fights. I'm working weigh-ins on Friday, but I'm not working fight night over at Fox, so that means I'm going to be probably out and about watching some fights.
Let's do goal.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So, listen, for folks who don't know, we already have an interview with Jake Ellenberger on my YouTube channel here on YouTube/Karyn Bryant. So you can see Jake Ellenberger. I went out to Glendale Fighting Club with him, and that, of course, is the home of Ronda Rousey. And so Jake's been out there for most of his camp, and so we have him training and sparring, so there's a lot of great sparring footage with him there, and then we do a nice long interview talking about the fight with Kelvin Gastelum, talking about what maybe went wrong in the fights with Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler, and just, you know, Jake is a real good guy, and he has a great perspective already on the UFC and his career of kind of coming out the gate, you know, big and strong, and then, you know, having a couple of stumbles, and just, you know, it's great to kind of check in with him and see where his headspace is. It's going to be a big fight with Kelvin Gastelum. I also have an interview with Kelvin that Wade should be editing, like, as we speak. I know he's down in Miami, but he's got that file, so I talked to Kelvin. We were Skyping. Kelvin's up in the
11 o'clock Miami time. Wade's not in.
Oh, I know. He's out at the Copa.
He's got his shirt off.
The only reason I know he's not is because Wade is not a great dancer, so I don't see him salsaing at the Copa. There's not a great fear of that.
Now, are you a good dancer?
Am I? I'm a great dancer. Really? Like, really? Really?
I'm not going to be, you know.
You're not going to be assume based on skin tone.
All right. So, okay, so under assumption, I'm not a good dancer.
You know what? You strike me as the guy that is not a great dancer, but gets enough liquid courage in and says, whatever, screw it. And they would actually get out there on the floor. That
pretty much goes with dancing, fighting, and picking up
podcasting.
Like, enough liquid courage. I'll
do it. I'm not saying. Fuck. Yeah. Wade may actually be in a club just doing the head nod right about now to some sexy Latinas. He might be doing the head nod. I'll give him that. But I guarantee you he is not on the dance floor.
Now, does Wade get play? Do women check him out?
Yeah, and he never knows it. It's hilarious. Like he's clueless. Like mostly because people don't expect us to be together. You know, some people still don't see chocolate and vanilla going together that much. So, like, I'll see him if we're like in this Home Depot or something, or some store, and there happens. Actually, I should really tell the truth. It's Fry's Electronics. That says like Mecca. When we go to Fry's Electronics, I look at my clock. I'm like, all right, I'll give you 45 minutes before I get to complain, because that's geek heaven. So, oh, dude.
So Wade scores at Fry's Electronics.
Oh, totally. Are you kidding me? He's the hottest guy in Fry's Electronics. So he walks in there. And So there'll be some girls, they all see him and they're like, oh my God, like he's actually in shape and he's like a dork, but he's cool, but he's,
I don't want to brag or anything, but I do okay at Pink's Hot Dogs.
Do you? Nice.
I'm not quite Fry's Electronics thing.
He's Fry's hot. And so there have been times when I stand there and I'll come up and I'm just kind of waiting for him. And the girl will have just absolutely no clue that I am married to him.
Right.
And so she'll sit there flirting away. And I just kind of kick back. I mean, if I had popcorn, I would just be watching because to me it's hilarious. And then maybe I'll walk up and give his ass a big grab and then watch him. No. I let him flirt. I think it's hilarious to me, but he doesn't have a lot of game.
Now, does he flirt back?
No. He doesn't have a lot of game. As he's editing this, he'll probably be looking at this sulking, but I mean, I'm being honest. He's not some player.
But he had enough game to score you.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah. But no, he's not a gamer. But yeah, so UFC 180, he'll be editing the Kelvin Gastelum video as well. So I wanted to get both sides of that story because I've known Jake now for the first time I interviewed Jake maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and really been impressed with him as a fighter. And he's just a solid guy. And Kelvin is a rising star as well. So I got both sides of that story. So please be sure to look for those interviews on our we'll post them on Facebook. And also, when I was out at Glendale Fighting Club, I talked to Manny Gamborian, and Manny, was just victorious at UFC 178. He dropped to the 135 weight class, got a victory there, and so he was talking about the bantamweights. But he gave me some thoughts on Jake's fight because he's been training alongside Jake. Also talked to me about Ronda versus Kat. Manny's just one of those guys who's been on the UFC for a lot of years, has a really good take on what's going on. So that is available right now too. People should check that out.
Cool.
Yeah. Pete, was there anything in pop culture that freaked you out this week?
Not really. But okay, here's a question though that I got.
Yeah.
So my soccer team.
Yes.
We had a loss. We had our first loss of the season. And 2 of my top 3 players couldn't make the game. And one kid told me he wasn't going to be able to make it because he had to go to church. And I started to tell him that I thought that was a bullshit reason not to make a soccer game.
Yeah. And
then I realized perhaps I shouldn't tell a young 8-year-old boy that his religion wasn't as important as AYSO soccer. But that's my praise and my pummel is I want to know what people listen. He's not Amish, okay? I mean, he wasn't wearing the clogs, and and he has electronics. Like, I believe that Jesus would have wanted him to support his team.
Yeah,
but I didn't. Because church, this is like 2014, like worship at home for that one day. I didn't know. I wanted to tell him, son, you gotta bring Jesus with you. And I didn't know. So anyway, we lost. We lost because of Jesus. I don't want to blame it on Jesus.
Jesus,
we lost.
Lost you the game. Yeah, that's tough.
I'm actually really interested in because listen, if you told me I can't make it because I'm going to a funeral, or I can't make it because I'm getting baptized. Yeah, but I can't make it because I have my Sunday weekly church obligation.
Yes, it wasn't a special.
No, so watch one of these Sunday programs where the.
May I ask? Was it a Dia de los Muertos type church thing? Was it a young Hispanic kid on your team?
No, I think he's half Asian. Great player.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, okay, this other kid said he couldn't make it because he was going to watch his friend's hockey game. And that, I was like, what? You're going to watch a hockey game?
Watch a game?
Play in a soccer game? So that kid, he ended up showing up. But the church one, I was like...
Yeah, because I
didn't know what to say.
I gotta be honest, because I agree with you that I don't want to... negate anybody's faith and their freedom to engage in those practices, but You could go to a different mass, right? You could go at a different time. You don't have to go win the game. I don't know. That would frustrate me. That would frustrate me.
Listen, everything in the New Testament is like you got to don't think about the letter of the law, think about the intention of the law. And I believe that the intention of love your brother is that you make it to the soccer game.
Well, also,
we can keep our undefeated record.
Well, yes, and also as a fight fan, we know that Jesus has been in the corner of many, many fighters. And so clearly, JC comes to fight night. So I think that he could have been at the game as well. I'm sorry. I
just, I respect, listen, I totally respect religion. But there's a thing, because, listen, it provides a great moral compass.
Absolutely.
But there comes a point when it's like you got a team depending on you.
Yeah, that's tough.
And if you go to some place to study your moral compass, but while you're there,
practice it. Right.
But while you're there, you're completely letting down your team.
Right.
Then I think you made the wrong choice.
But also that's not. I mean, the truth of the matter is was it really that 8-year-old's decision, or was that his parents' decision?
Well, when he was, it was probably his parents.
No, but that's a bummer. It's a bummer.
Listen, here's one good thing, though, about losing your first AYSO game.
Yeah.
The ride home from the soccer field with a car of 8-year-old boys, it's never been so quiet in my life. And and I was like, ooh, that's nice and relaxing, actually. Yeah. Ooh, the feeling of the sting of defeat sort of calms all the farting jokes down. So I will say the ride home was the most relaxing ride that I've had.
Well, it's tough, and
that's the one silver lining.
Yes, and they do say you learn more from a defeat than you do from a victory. So is there anything, though, that you learned in terms of coaching or for your team that you can take away from this that you'll apply moving forward?
Well, here's my problem. My problem is that I watch sports movies.
Yeah.
So now that I'm like my first time coach, I'm thinking like Gene Hackman and Hoosiers.
Yeah.
So like I always have like these great like speeches like we had one more quarter and I'm like, I don't care if we lose. I care how we lose.
Oh, you did not.
And meanwhile, it's like a bunch of 8-year-old boys, and they're all looking at me going like, what? What? Wait, what?
How do we lose?
And
I like that, though. That's good.
No, but like, I need to coach like 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Because like all my knowledge is from movies. They have to be at least 15.
Right.
But no, they were like, they were all wanting to quit and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. And
what was the score?
Score is pretty bad, Karyn. We lost 7-2. However, we were down 5-0. And what I try to tell the guys at the end is, I'm like, listen, the last 1/3 of the game, you played them 2-all. You know? So, but. Yeah, it was tough.
So that brings up another great idea for comment interaction. What are some of your favorite sports movies?
Oh, interesting. Well, you got to go Slapshot. I mean,
Slapshot's good.
I grew up playing hockey.
Okay, so Slapshot's good. I'll give you that one.
Rocky.
Of course.
Yeah, in fact, Rocky was the movie that got me like interested in boxing.
Yeah.
Which got me into the Golden Gloves, and halfway through the first round, I started thinking, Terms of Endearment's a really good movie too.
He's solid. Shirley MacLaine killed it in
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing about like Rocky is like you hear the music and the training, and then you get all psyched to do it. And you're like, but there's no music, and the only thing you really hear is. But Rocky, the original Rocky.
The original Rocky is spectacular. I love Remember the Titans. I don't know if you've seen that one with Denzel.
I didn't see that.
Great movie. Football movie. I love football, and I remember the Titans is also interesting because it's the black white thing. There, it's the racial thing. There's a lot of backstory to that. So perhaps some of those themes I might relate to a little bit more, having dealt with a lot of racism in my own life. But remember, the Titans is really, really good. Really, really good movie. Like, I remember seeing it in the theater, and people just, when it's good, when people get caught up in the football action of the movie and just start, like, cheering like they're really watching a legit football game. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And so I remember it was like that. Love that movie. I love Rocky as well. I told you the other day, totally randomly, but watch that movie Rush, which has to do with the Formula One racers.
Great movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I used to not think racing was a sport, and then I got to drive around with Gilles de Ferran years ago when I worked on Junkyard Wars, and I got to drive around the Brickyard with him in the Indy Pace car, which was like a souped-up Corvette, and I found out how exhausting that is. I drove around with him for like 20 minutes, and my core and my butt were so sore from trying to keep it together going through the curves at 130 miles an hour, so that was impressive. I love, there was another...
here's the thing about Rush, and I didn't realize it until after I'd seen it. It's a true story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that movie was just so great. I mean, listen, sports movies, I guess you could call Karate Kid a sports movie. Karate Kid, kind of. I mean, the whole...
Try that little movie, guys. In the octagon.
People still always yell "sweep the leg."
The little
though.
pelican dance does.
People always yell "sweep the leg" at fights for sure. My neighbor actually, my friend, produced The Blind Side. That was a pretty good movie for football and stuff. That was pretty good. I'm trying to think. I know I'm forgetting. League of Their Own. I love because I played baseball. But you didn't love it. See, listen, I love League of Their Own. But again, it was like... It's
got one of the greatest lines. There's
no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. So I love League of Their Own.
Okay, how about... See...
And The Natural, if we're talking baseball, The Natural.
Come on. When he hits the ball, the lights are raining down. I like... There's not a guy who with dry eyes.
No. It's like, no, I've said The Natural is one of those movies, and every time I'd see it, I see the thing like if I'm channel surfing and it's on, I'm done. Like I can't not watch The Natural. I'm totally done.
Listen, that's what made Derek Jeter's last bat at Yankee Stadium.
How phenomenal was that?
Because that was like a real life, here he comes one last time, captain. I mean, I wasn't being a Red Sox fan.
Of course, me and you, both of us.
I wasn't a Jeter fan, but it's like you look at that, you're like, good, man. Now just go off to the supermodel pasture where you
although with Jeter, I'm definitely a don't hate the player, hate the game. It's more like I don't like the Yankees. As an individual, I can't be mad at somebody, who's that good and stuff. But yeah, the Natural is, to me, just one of the all-time greats. One of the all-time greats. Love it.
All right. So listen, I figure at this point in the podcast, we've lost everyone except our hardcore.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you my Brazilian stripper story.
Okay, and then we'll wrap it up. Tell me. Do tell.
All right. So I'm in Brazil, Rio, and I go to a strip bar. My wife's not feeling well, so...
How convenient.
That's, that's why you're like, did you take care of are you taking care of? Well, no, I try to sneak out of the house and see if I can... No, she knew about it. So I go to the strip bar, and I sit down, and this stripper / hooker / sits next to me, puts her hand on my leg and goes like, ooh, grande. Now, I would like to think that I could accept that compliment.
And believe it, and...
I just a stripper / hooker in Brazil. Am I gonna get the word grande out of her? I might get substantially or something. But so anyway, grande. And then another stripper sits down on the other side of me, and she grabs, and she puts her hand on my leg and grabs a whole chunk of jean and goes, ooh, grande. So then I just wanted to kind of pull out my screenplay and get their opinions on it because they were just like throwing out the compliments all around. I was like, "Ooh, could I have you guys? God, you guys are doing so much well."
Yeah. Why don't you help me out?
So I guess what I'm saying is, if anyone's still watching this, if a stripper / hooker grabs your leg and says "Grande," maybe she's not quite telling the truth. That's that. If you can take anything away from this podcast, is don't necessarily base things on what a stripper /
Absolutely no, because
I will say I walked out of there with like feeling really good about myself.
Well,
not only do I have a big penis, but apparently I have 2 big penises, and they're on both.
And my favorite though is when you guys leave a strip club and you're like, no, she really liked me though. No, like that one, like really liked me. I could have. I'm just saying.
I went to one strip club in Los Angeles, and the woman had a little piece of toilet paper stuck on her. Oh my God, that was.
Well, it's just funny for me because as a woman, we know how easy you guys are, and it's so easy to actually make you think that we really, really like you. You know what I mean? It's a joke.
I've never listen. I don't even think my own parents like me. I mean, I'm sure not going to think a stripper likes me.
Oh God, it's so funny.
No, but I will say there was one. And then we were at this, given, because I'm a cheap prick, right? I give like $1, and the stripper's like, she says to me like, "Can I have a little bit more?" I'm like, we're not supposed to be talking here. Don't break this fourth wall. Because then, like, I feel really creepy. Like this. You don't talk to me. I just feel like institutionally creepy. But if you actually talk to me, now I'm feeling individually creepy. And then she's like, "Can I have some more?" Yeah. If I can just get $9, I can get a sandwich in the cafe. And I'm like, oh my God, now you're a naked homeless person. And then I felt like,
now it's Oliver Twist, please, sir.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm like, and I actually said to her, I go, I feel like you're being a naked homeless person. And she called me an asshole. And so anyway, those are my stripper stories. I'm expecting like 3 people to have maybe stayed with us.
Wow. Well, listen, if they have, Pete, where can they find you on Twitter?
Mind Noogie.
Mind Noogie.
Now, listen, we should get everyone, because in a couple weeks we're going to have a new set.
That's right.
And I'm going to be a lot cleaned up. My eyes are going to be open. I'm actually having toothpicks in place.
Are you going with the Grecian formula or the just for men? What are you going to do?
See, here's with the Grecian formula. If you put that in and it's too black, then it looks really fake. But I'm going to have 2 toothpicks implanted here, and then I'm just going to get the forehead brought down a little bit. And then apparently they're going to put some UFC knowledge. They're going to in either ear. And that's going to be done away. The shoulders are going to come out. And then I'm getting a 2x4 right in my ass that's going to hold me up. So
in other words, folks, I'll be back with Luke Rockhold in a couple weeks.
Luke Rockhold from Rockhold Industries.
No. So we are, folks, all seriousness, so we are working on a new set and everything. So thank you for hanging in there with us. We want to do. We got big things planned. Things planned. So you can find me on Twitter at Karyn Bryant, KarynBryant. You can also, if you're watching this, you're looking at it on YouTube /Karyn Bryant. If you are listening to this, and if you want to listen to it as an MP3, just go to MMAheat.com /podcast. And once again, in looking forward to UFC 180, I've got a Jake Ellenberger interview with a lot of training footage as well. And we'll be posting our Kelvin Gastelum interview. And you can look for me on Fox Sports. I'll be doing the weigh-in show, working with Sugar Rashad Evans and Kenny Florian on Friday. So that's going to be great. We got UFC tonight on Wednesday. The good news is we're going to have interviews with Cain Velasquez and Conor McGregor. The bad news is there is no bad news. The bad news is that we can't do a 4-hour show. I would like to just sit down with Conor McGregor for like 4 hours and film the whole damn thing. Have a couple beers. He's an entertaining cat. All right, well, folks, thank you for watching. And again, Please add your comments about who you think some of these guys should fight next, or what do you think they should do next, and some of your favorite sports movies. We definitely like hearing from you.
And church or AYSO soccer.
And if Jesus should have made the kid go to the game.
Jesus would have never let his disciples down. Sorry, dude, I got to be in the temple. No, he would have.
It's hard. No, it's hard because the kid's trying to do the right thing. That's hard. Tough call, Pete.
Yeah.
Tough call.
He blew it.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you next time.